We welcome you to the Pepsi Center, Denver, Colorado. Game 1 of this best of 7 Western Conference first round playoff series, matching the 2nd seed and the 7th seed, the New Orleans Hornets and the Denver Nuggets. Finale of our TNT triple header. Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, Mark Fine works the sidelines. The Nuggets had controlled the opening tip. Anthony played here at the start by Stojakovic. Chandler switching off. Carmelo off the mark. And the Hornets are in possession. A New Orleans team that did not conclude the season in positive fashion. They ended up 49-33, and they lost 6 of their last 8 games. Here is Stojakovic, and it's rebounded by Dante Jones.
One thing that's evident at the start of this, Chauncey Billups and Chris Paul will not be guarding one another at the outset. Don't want one of them to get in foul trouble early. Dante Jones is going to be guarding Chris Paul.
And Dante Jones comes up with the steal, fires down court, intended for Carmelo Anthony. So the ball back to the Hornets. Denver 54-28 in the regular season, and they finished strong. They won 14 of the last 17, including an 8-game win streak. And in talking with Denver head coach George Karl earlier, Reg, obviously his main concern is Chris Paul and the fact that he is able to control the game most of the way. They want to get the ball out of his hands. Anthony called on the foul as we check out the McDonald's starting lineups, and Tyson Chandler is back. He's playing hurt through the ankle injury. Kenyon Martin, who sat out for 4 games recently, is back in the lineup, played the final 2 of the regular season. He had that strained hip. Here's Stojakovic coming short on a 3-point attempt, and then it carries out of bounds.
Byron Scott trying to get Peja going early. If you can get an outside consistent shot going, it's going to help that pick and roll that Chris Paul likes to run with David West and Tyson Chandler when you have a viable 3-point option.
What did George Karl tell us? They'll run, what, 50 plus? Oh, Martin with the stuff!
We're wondering how the Nuggets were going to come out. The number 2 seed in the West, 54 wins, where they're going to be a little bit nervous.
Here is David West. And Anthony with the rebound. The last time the Nuggets hosted an opening game at a playoff series was back in the 1988 conference semifinals against Dallas. And here is Anthony kicking it back out. It's stolen by Paul. He has a 3-on-1. Shovels it to Stojakovic, and the basket will count. It's a goaltend.
And what I like what Chris Paul did right there, as soon as he came up with the steal, he easily could have used his speed to get out. But what did he do? He waited for his wing players to bust out in the lanes, waited for Peja, and rewarded him. Here's Carmelo Anthony trying to make a move into the paint. Chris Paul comes up with the steal, looks left, looks right, makes sure he has his wing players. Peja, nice finish.
And here's Nene, rebounded by Stojakovic. So both teams open up 1 of 4 from the field. Paul puts a move on Nene. This is Steve Nash fashion as he circles and then hits.
Well, that's what he's going to do. He's going to probe and get into the lane, make sure if he has cutters cutting, make sure he doesn't have any wide open shooters. No one was open. He takes the shot.
Chauncey Billups acquired by Denver in that early season trade with Allen Iverson and changed the culture of this franchise as Chauncey got it to Dante Jones, able to knock down the 3. Denver usually tries to get Dante involved very early at the offensive end.
And with Chris Paul guarding him, he's somewhat going to be a roamer. He's not going to have to guard him as tight as if he had to guard Chauncey Billups.
Now Billups being played by Rasul Butler. Dante Jones with the ball, drew the double and then threw it away. Butler with the steal.
Dante Jones is not used to having the ball down low on the post, but George Karl is trying to go at Chris Paul early, maybe pick up a foul or a quick foul or 2.
Nice quick step there by Paul, but not able to convert. Anthony met by Stojakovic. Try to get it to Martin. Denver turns it over. Here comes Paul. Billups is back. We're just underway here on the Mile High City. West with the standing one-hander.
Anytime you get that 15 to 18-foot jump shot for David West, especially facing, he's going to be able to knock it down.
And Reggie Denver with 5 turnovers here, the opening 4 minutes of play. Martin, way off. Whoa. Let's check in with Mark Fine. Mark.
Well, Marv, Reggie mentioned the 15 to 18 footer for David West. Keep an eye on that because Chris Paul said when he misses that shot, he goes crazy. He's the 17-foot assassin, and West actually missed his first 15-footer, hit the second, but that's a shot to watch for throughout the game.
All right, here is Billups on a fade. Rebounded by West. Talking with Byron Scott, head coach of the Hornets earlier. He told us the first time that he played here in Denver, back in his days with the Lakers, he was reaching to the oxygen tank. Was that the kind of effect that it had on you?
Yes, it did. You're not used to it, and as soon as you run up and down a couple times, you're asking to come out. But he told his team, look, I'm not crazy. We're going to have a blowout practice. On Friday, they actually came up early.
There's Billups from downtown. Yeah, the Hornets arrived here in Denver a day earlier than usual, and then had a hard driving practice, lots of running to try and get accustomed to the altitude.
Lots of running to get some air into the lungs, and they had a very tough shoot around today before the game.
As West fouled by Martin, and West will head to the line. It hasn't affected your broadcast style, has it?
I'm a little winded, just a little, but I'm hanging in there.
And as for Byron Scott and his Hornets, the number 7 seed, they go 49-33 regular season. That's 4th in the very tough Southwest Division, but lost 6 of their last 8, and they stumbled into the 7th seed.
Well, a lot of injuries for the Hornets. Tyson Chandler with the ankle, the toe injuries, was traded at the trade deadline. Thought he was going to be with Oklahoma City, was sent back. Peja has missed some times because of injury, so it's not the same New Orleans Hornets that were the number 2 seed in last season's playoffs and really ran Dallas off in the first round and went 7 games with the Spurs.
Yes, lost in the Western Conference semifinals in 7, losing on their home court in the Big Easy. San Antonio winning Game 7 after losing Games 1, 2, and 5 by 22, 18, and then 22 points. It was a lopsided series, but the Spurs were able to pull it out. Anthony trying to go behind the back. Stojakovic stays with him. And it's rebounded by Butler.
Nice one-on-one defense there by Rasul Butler and Peja Stojakovic.
Chandler getting inside, working his way on Nene.
That's always a plus when Chandler can catch and shoot. Usually his offense is going to come from putbacks and alley-oops.
Byron Scott saying that Tyson Chandler is about 75 to 80%. I myself about 92%. As Nene is able to spin his way inside, and the game is tied.
And Nene, one of the candidates for most improved.
Here is Paul. Billups directing traffic, and he ran Butler off a screen. Foul is called on Butler. Timeout taken halfway through this opening quarter.
Kenya Martin, one of those players with playoff experience and NBA Finals experience. It's all tied up here in the Pepsi Center.
It is a bombing 52-degree day here in Denver following the April snowstorm that hit this area this past Friday, as we welcome you back to the Pepsi Center. And right here, Reg, time for Cold Hard Facts presented by Coors Light.
Well, for the Hornets, Byron Scott says he does not want to run with the Nuggets, so you're going to have to control the tempo. And Chris Paul's penetration, he's 3rd amongst guards in points in the paint. And George Karl said for him, his team is the bigger team. We have to dominate the offensive boards and bench production. J.R. Smith, Klaize coming off, and you got Anderson and Carter at the defensive end. Dominate the bench production.
And there's no question that the Denver bench, as Billups hits again from downtown, the Denver bench has had an outstanding season. Not the case for the Hornets. A reason that Byron Scott has been using Chris Paul a lot of minutes throughout the year. The same for David West when he's been healthy. Here's West isolated with Martin. Got it over Martin, that came up short. Martin may have got, oh, look out. Tyson Chandler and Nene get involved, and a foul is called. It is on Chandler.
And Chandler's trying to tell Sean Corbin that he was being held by Nene down low. And both of these guys are going to be tangled up all game and all series right here. And both players trying to go for the loose rebound. Both are very physical. Almost could have been a double foul.
Yeah. And the officiating crew, Monty McCutcheon with Sean Corbin and Mark Davis. Here's Anthony getting the step. Power drive. Not able to finish. Rebounded by Butler.
We've seen two outstanding defensive efforts by Butler. One on Chauncey Billups as Chris Paul, we talked about points in the paint. Takes the bump from Nene, the contact, and is able to finish.
So the basket counts and the foul.
And that's one of the 50-plus pick and rolls that George Karl was going to see from the Hornets. Comes off of Chandler, little hesitation, and gets into the lane and the contact.
James Posey has come on for Peja Stojakovic. See points in the paint amongst the guards this season. Hilton Armstrong replacing Tyson Chandler and J.R. Smith. Mr. Instant Offense has come on for the Nuggets. Anthony on a catch and shoot. He's been off. Back comes Paul.
Oh, yet to score 0-4 from the field.
Paul lost it. Phillips with the steal. And here's Smith for three. Too strong, but it's handled by Anthony. Phillips off the dribble is fouled. Hit on a reach-in. So Chauncey Billups looking to take it to the rim, was hit by Paul. Now look at the Denver Nuggets and how they got to the number 2 seed. 5th time in team history that they have been the 2nd seed, 54-28 overall. Home court advantage in the playoffs for the first time in 21 years. Billups with the hot hand early. He has 8 points. And the last time that the Nuggets won a playoff series was back in 1994 when Chauncey Billups was 17 years old, leading George Washington High School to the Denver State Championship.
Why are you dating the man? Maybe he doesn't want his age out there marvelous.
I have a feeling that most people know how old Chauncey is as West hits on a nice turnaround. Game is tied at 15. Is he hiding it from the media guys?
He's not hiding it. Just saying maybe he doesn't just want it out there and telling how old he is. He's not playing very old tonight, I'll tell you that.
As Nene makes his move, he's called for the travel. And now here's the Birdman, who has been a major factor off the bench for Denver. Chris Anderson, who finished 2nd in block shots behind Dwight Howard of Orlando, and has emerged as a very popular figure here in Denver.
Well, he's a crowd favorite, and what did George Karl say? There's not going to be very many plays ran for Anthony Carter and Chris Birdman Anderson. They get all their dirty work done.
Armstrong is fouled as Anderson was going for the block and was faked out. So Hilton Armstrong will go to the line.
Well, I don't know if this was on Chauncey Billups or Anderson, but Anderson is going to try and go for every block while he's in there. He's not scared. He's going to contest every shot.
But sometimes that's the downside. When guys put together big numbers in terms of block shots, they try to pick up the stats, and they do go for the fake.
Well, I'd rather want my big man jumping like popcorn every single time as opposed to being timed. I think that's what made Alonzo Mourning great, Dikembe Mutombo. They went after every single shot down low.
Jumping like popcorn?
Up and down.
Oh, I see.
Up and down.
Bill Armstrong, a player who does struggle at the foul line. Just under 3 to go in this first quarter, and the game is tied at 15. Now Posey defending on Anthony. And Smith, with no conscience, comes up short.
Well, George Karl says there's going to be time throughout the game when I'm going to scratch my head on some of the shots by J.R. Smith, but we've learned to live with it. But one guy who's not scratching his head right now, David West, with a nice turnaround over the right shoulder.
George took a long walk after that shot. Back in Denver, time for Gatorade around the cooler. Let's check in with Mark Fine. Mark.
All right, thanks a lot, Marv. No surprise that Chauncey Billups and Chris Paul have gotten the bulk of the offensive attention early in this game. What people might not know is these two have become very good friends off of the court. Chris Paul says he's one of my favorite people in the world. He's like a mentor to me. He's helped me so much. And Billups, when you talk to him about Chris Paul, he just lights up. He says when he does well, it's like watching my little brother. Now, they talk often. They text each other. I asked them if that would continue during the series. And Billups said, well, I'll keep talking to him, but I'm not going to give him any information that's going to help him beat the Nuggets. And Chris Paul said probably a little less brotherly love in the conversation this week, guys.
Well, two of the best point guards in the NBA, Chauncey Billups, man who turned this franchise around. They had some success in recent years, but not what has taken place this season. Here's Butler, rejected by Anderson. Anthony. And he's hit on a reach-in.
It looks like that's David West. We talked about the timing of Chris Anderson. Nice move by Butler to get into the lane. But who comes over from the weak side? The Birdman with the extension in the block. Starts the fast break for Carmelo Anthony.
So Carmelo fouled in the act. Will shoot two. A year ago, the number 8 seeded Nuggets began the playoffs at the number 1 seeded Lakers, and that turned out to be a 4-game sweep. And after game 3, Carmelo made that statement. He said, we quit everybody from the coaches to the players, and that became headline news. Carmelo, though, very positive about this season as Paul wastes no time getting down court, setting it up for Hilton Armstrong. And Carmelo Anthony says he's tired of being eliminated in the first round. This franchise has been eliminated in the first round. The last 6 times they've made it to the playoffs. Chauncey Billups is on fire. 3 of 3 from downtown. He has 11 points.
Byron Scott did not want to see this start for Chauncey Billups because he can control the offense as well as the defense. But when he's shooting like that, it's going to be tough to defend.
Shot clock to 5, and Paul fires for 3. So effortless, not concerned about the clock, which is why he is just so difficult to play against. And Billups is fouled, 1-2 by Butler.
One of the keys is about controlling the tempo. And look at Chris Paul. He looks up at the shot clock. Okay, it's running down. Let me just step back a little bit and knock down this 3.
Hornets are now over the foul limit, so Billups to the line. Let's take a look at the upcoming national TV schedule. Tuesday on NBA TV, Houston at Portland, with the Blazers looking to turn things around from what took place last night at home. Friday, Cleveland at Detroit, Orlando at Philly, Portland at Houston. And then Sunday on ABC, Boston at Chicago. That'll be game 4, followed by Cleveland at Detroit, and coverage starts 12:30 p.m. Eastern time.
When you were talking about Chris Paul and Chauncey Billups being friends and all that, I'm not friends with our competitors, ESPN, Mark Jackson, and them. I don't know, maybe you might want to text Mike Green them and be friends with them, but Mark and Van Gundy, the analysts, we're not friends during the playoffs.
I know you take these things personally. Which always made friends around the league in your playing days.
Playoffs. No love lost anywhere.
All right, here's Smith. Trying to spin his way. He had no angle. Crowd looking for a foul. There's Paul finding the open Rasul Butler from downtown.
That happens a couple times when Chris Paul gets into the lane and gets an and one. Everyone converges on him. Next thing you know, he just knocks it out to one of those shooters that are surrounding. That time it being Russell Butler.
And another another three-pointer. Phillips with a 16-point opening quarter, 4 for 4 from beyond that three-point line, and the Nuggets up 25-23. Here's Paul, and he's called for a palming violation.
And Chauncey Billups, almost a 4-point. You talked about looking at the shot clock right there, and he was really getting the basketball up on the rim for a 2-for-1 for the Nuggets.
See those numbers for Billups here at the start. Billups pitching off to Anderson, and he's fouled. So Anderson will go to the line. Chris Anderson, a 72% free throw shooter. Hilton Armstrong called for the foul. A look at the Birdman resume. Signed as a free agent back in July. He's trying to get his career back on track following the drug suspension, reinstated last March. A one-time member of the Hornets, began his NBA career with Denver in 2001 as the D-League's first ever call-up. Spent 3 years with Denver, 3 years with New Orleans, and has really blossomed off the bench this season.
Well, George Karl brought him in early after they signed him, and it was one of the reasons why Nene is having such a great season. Nene usually starts his preparation for the season in September. He started with the Birdman in July, and he feels that's the reason why Nene has been successful this year without the injuries, coming in early and working on your game during the summer.
3-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. West gets the roll.
That's nice.
Down to 5 seconds left in the quarter. Here comes Smith. Gets it off for 3. So that's the end of the first quarter. The story, Chauncey Billups. 5 for 6 from the field. 4 of 4 from three-point range. 16 points. Mark Fine with Byron Scott when we come back.
Mark Fine back at the Pepsi Center, 27-25. Coach, Chris Paul said energy and emotion were important for you guys to start this game. Were you happy with the team's energy?
I was. We still had too many mishaps on the defensive end. We let Chauncey step into about 2 or 3 wide open three-point shots because of miscommunication, so we got to do a better job on that.
You were a little worried about the altitude. Anybody going for the 0-2 yet? Or what?
No, not yet. So far, so good.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Right.
Marv, back to you.
We might go for that over here at the table. Byron Scott, last season's Coach of the Year in his 5th season now as the head coach of the Hornets. Second quarter getting underway. Denver 8 of 20 from the field in the first quarter, while New Orleans 10 for 21. Nuggets with 6 turnovers in that opening quarter, though they have a 27-25 lead thanks to the hot shooting of Chauncey Billups, who put up 16 in the first quarter. Here is Nene over to Smith around Devin Brown, who just checked in, and the rejection but counted. It's a goaltend.
That was kind of close. It looked like Hilton Armstrong got there soon enough, but shot was coming down. Let's see if Byron Scott, especially with the second unit on the floor with Peja Stojakovic, if they can try to find some screens to get him going a little bit offensively. Only 2 points and hasn't shot the ball particularly well.
Antonio Daniels has come on for Chris Paul, sits down with 8 points, 5 assists. And Devin Brown is his backcourt partner. Linus Kleza has checked in for the first time for Denver. That pass off the mark. Posey tried to save it. So the ball back to Denver. And now Anthony Carter will come on for Chauncey Billups. Now Billups in 13 minutes with 16 points. And here's it from the crowd as he heads back to the bench. J.R. Smith handles. So Smith and Carter at the guards. And here's Smith. And that was intended for Carter. George Karl rarely puts the ball in the hands of J.R. Smith, particularly with a true point guard and Anthony Carter on the floor.
Well, you know, J.R. Smith is going to get a lot of looks, especially three-pointers. But when you put the ball in his hand, because he's not a great ball handler, especially coming off those pick-and-roll situations, things like that happen. He's lucky he didn't pick up an offensive foul as he barreled over James Posey.
Crowd reacting to beverage that went flying off that last play.
You should have seen official Sean Corbin as he was smelling the basketball to see how much beer actually spilled on
checking it out.
Yeah, just checking out a little smell test.
Did it pass? I did not see.
Apparently, we don't have a new basketball.
I did not see an exchange over the scorer's table. And here's Posey with the step, rejected from behind by Anderson. That's his second block shot. Glazer for three. Rebounded by Brown. Devin Brown. They're going to get to the front court. Posey passed on a three. Bad pass, and they turn it over.
That's two quick turnovers in this second quarter for the Hornets. As Byron Scott looks on, especially in playoffs, and you're going to control the tempo. You cannot have silly turnovers.
Now, I've asked that question of the czar. Is there such a thing as a positive turnover? I think you've been hanging around with him too much.
Maybe if you're overpassing a little bit.
I see. Okay.
But, yeah, you can't have silly or any other kind of turnovers.
J.R. Smith comes up short, and it's rebounded by Tyson Chandler, who just checked back in. Nuggets up by 4. An open shot for Devin Brown. Back tap. Good job by Chandler. Here's Stojakovic. Peja Stojakovic with his second field goal.
Like a nice little step back. Didn't settle for the three. Took the ball off the dribble, little step back. 15-footer.
Nene putting a move on Chandler. And a foul on Chandler as he threw his shoulder into Nene. That's the second on Tyson Chandler.
When you're a three-point shooter like Peja is, set him up with the three-point shot. Birdman's just a step slow. The help comes from Glazer. Little step back, 15-footer.
Peja Stojakovic missed all but 2 games in the month of March. He's been playing hurt. Smith taking to the rim. So the outside shot not going to this point for J.R. Smith, who could break out at any moment.
And won't stop shooting. He's not shy.
Stojakovic played by Smith, able to poke it away. Good play.
But I like it. I like Peja being aggressive, especially without Paul and David West on the floor for the Hornets. You need offense from Peja.
I mentioned Peja playing hurt. Overall, he has missed 20 games this season with back and ankle injuries. Here's Brown, rejected by Anderson. That's number 3. Smith, stripped, recovered though by Carter. Carter with the shovel. And it's last touch by Anderson. Timeout taken by the Hornets.
What I like about Birdman is he can block shots with right or left hand. He brings that intensity off the bench for the Nuggets.
We're back in Denver. Oh, yes, the Marvelettes making it to a TNT telecast.
I like it.
We take a look at Reggie's Mailbag, presented by Blackbird. This is the television debut following the unparalleled success of Reggie's Mailbag on TNT Overtime. What do you have for us?
Well, I'm excited about this because we have games 2 and 3 of the Lakers-Utah, and the question comes from John P. Who could actually beat the Lakers out west? And obviously they're up 1-0 against Utah right now, and I'm assuming they're going to win their first-round series. I think their toughest opponent is going to come in the second round. Either Portland, who's a young team, and they haven't had great success playing in Portland, or Houston with Yao, and you got 2 players that actually are pretty good as Nene gets into the lane with a nice finish, who could guard a Kobe Bryant and Ron Artest and Shane Battier. So Portland or Houston, John P. could give them a little bit of a run.
Lakers over Utah by 13 earlier today out at Staples, led by Kobe, 24 points and 8 assists. Foul is on Anderson. That is his second. Oh, we have another Reggie mailbag, a bonus question for you.
Oh.
Says Reggie, and in parentheses, and Marv, do you miss me? Mike F. from Cleveland. I would believe that would be the czar, who is very insecure. And I do want to mention we took a vote here at the broadcast table, and it was not favorable.
I got to change my mailbag address. I know that.
Daniels knocks down a three. Antonio Daniels from straightaway. So the Nuggets now lead at 33-30. Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, Mark Fine. It's game one of this best of seven. Here's Nene. Glazer. Linus Glazer, who's had his ups and downs this season, was right there for the follow. Nuggets up by 5. Story in the first half, 16 points for Chauncey Billups in the first quarter, hitting 5 of 6 from the field, 4 from downtown. Shot clock is to 5. Daniels again from long range, rebounded by Carter.
Stojakovic is going to have to be a little bit more selfish when he's down there on the post.
Oh, nice play as Carter got it down low to Smith.
Nice fast break there by Anthony Carter, finding a cutting J.R. Smith on the wing.
Biggest lead of the night. Denver by 7. And Daniels hit on a reach-in.
George Karl and his team, especially the second unit, they want to run when they get in here. They want to use that altitude, and Anthony Carter does a good job of finding J.R. Smith, who had 11 threes about a week ago. Denver record, and one off the NBA record of 12 set by Kobe Bryant and Donyell Marshall.
Donyell Marshall hitting a big bucket, huge, in that win, coming from 18 down to beat the Magic, and Andre Iguodala with the game winner. Here's Chris Paul to just check back in and hits from downtown. So Paul has 11, and the Denver lead down to 4. Nene looked like the Hornets were not set back at the defensive end.
And that can't happen. And Byron Scott is going to have to address this in a timeout. You can't knock down a long three and they score a layup at the other end.
West rebounded by Anderson. Glazer going at Butler, who just checked back in. Carter played by Paul.
Carmelo yet to score tonight.
Came up short. Played by Anderson. Yes! And the foul! The Birdman heads back to the line.
It's the energy that he's bringing off the bench. We know he's going to block shots, but here gets the loose rebound from the shot by Carmelo Anthony, and the Rooster knows how to get the crowd into it. The Rooster tail up top, the Birdman.
West on the foul, and isn't it uncanny when a guy has a good nickname, particularly if he's playing well? That
we're going to use
helps.
it all night over here.
No, but people will relate.
Oh, they love him here. They love him here. Well, he's battled back, from adversity. And when teams were calling, he wasn't getting a lot of looks, and George Karl went out on a limb, and it has paid off.
Here's Butler on a catch and shoot for 3. And both clubs hitting from downtown. They are each 5 of 9 from beyond that 3-point line. Nuggets up by 6. Anderson being tempted.
Why not?
You see Chandler stepping away and saying, shoot it. Here's Paul. Oh, what a move around Carter. There's that probing maneuver by Paul, and won't force the action. Gave it up to West. Here's Stojakovic for 3. Peja Stojakovic cuts the lead to 3. And George Karl is very upset. Takes a timeout as we approach 5 minutes to play in this first half.
See what happens when you move the ball and you get into the lane. Wide open shot for Butler. And then right here, what does Chris Paul do again? He fakes like he's going to get a shot. 2 players go to him. Peja knocks it down in the short 3.
Play fast, play early, play together, play hard, man. It started with defense, gentlemen.
I still think we got to pick it up a little bit. We get stops, we got to pick it up.
And there's a reason why Byron Scott was Coach of the Year last year, and George Karl has won 7 division titles with 3 different teams. Both are preaching that the defense is going to win this ball game, and they're not satisfied with the effort from their ball club.
And isn't it strange to hear Denver talking defense, because that has not been a strong point in recent years on the turnover. Ball back to New Orleans. However, the Nuggets 4th in the NBA in opponents' field goal percentage. The opposition shooting just 44% against them.
And that all changed when number 7 was traded, Chauncey Billups. He brought that mindset from Detroit that we can't just do it at one end, the offensive end. We're going to have to get it done at the defensive end.
Sean Marks has come on for the Hornets. He's been getting the minutes as of late. But with all the injuries suffered by New Orleans, Anderson is fouled by Marks. And for the Hornets, their 3rd team foul. So Anderson back to the line where he's hit 3 for 3. A programming reminder, don't miss the premiere of executive producer Jerry Bruckheimer's new series Dark Blue. That'll be this July only on TNT. Talking a moment ago about George Karl taking a chance with Chris Anderson. Well, George said that he feels one of the major difference makers for his team has been Anderson. He said he certainly had doubts about Chris Anderson because of the previous drug issues, but he feels that he's made the turn. He had long talks with him. He felt he was sincere. He seemed passionate, loved his new life. And he said what he discovered, Chris Anderson has a very high basketball IQ. And he said he did not know that about Anderson beforehand. And he has been one of the big stories for the Nuggets this year. That will count Rasul Butler, who worked his way into the starting lineup over the injury suffered by Mo Peterson and has had a career season. He's brought the Hornets within 2. Carter gets it down low on the deflection. Carter with the shot. Back tap by Nene and kept alive by Phillips. Pull it pass to Anderson. And a foul. Foul on Paul. That's his 2nd. For more on Rasul Butler, let's go to Mark.
Yeah, guys, you know, in talking to Chris Paul and Coach Scott, they say they are happier for Rasul Butler than any player on this team. He didn't play at the end of the season last season, and Chris Paul said it just shows you the guy always had the ability. It was a question of putting his mind to it, making the effort, and believing in himself. And again, both of the guys really happy to see him performing as well as he has.
Oh, the alley-oop. Carmelo Anthony taking that lead pass from Kenyon Martin for Anthony, his first field goal. He'd missed his 5 previous shots. Nuggets 45 and the Hornets 41. Paul with a beautiful pass to Marks. How did he find the space to get it on a hop to Sean Marks?
Well, the pass was great, but the finish from Sean Marks over Nene and Kenyon Martin.
Anthony surprised Nene, able to handle it, good hands, it'll count, and the foul.
We're seeing some great interior passing from both clubs. Look at Carmelo Anthony getting into the lane. He's got 3 blue jerseys around him, finds a Nene just rolling to the basket. That's a no-look pass and a nice finish by Nene.
Very strong season for Nene, 14.5 a game, 8 rebounds. He's made it back from testicular cancer. He had played in only 81 games over the previous 3 years. Last season appeared in only 16 games. There's Paul curling his way inside. And on the funnel, came up short, rebounded by Marks. Shot clock still alive. The ball did not hit the rim. Down to 5 on the 24. Paul is fouled. Oh, he hit hard from behind by Martin, who took a swipe at the hand of Sean Marks. And let's see how the officials deal with this.
Well, I think it's going to be a double technical on David West and Kenyon Martin. But Chris Paul is trying to say, look, that was a flagrant foul. first and foremost, and then the John started to get in between David West, who I'm not quite sure anyone really wants to get into it with. He trains with a few boxers, heavyweight boxers, I might add.
All right, the officials continue to talk about it, and we will sort this out when we come back. It all started off this drive by Chris Paul. Denver with a 48-43 lead on New Orleans with just under 3 remaining in this first half. Now, this is not the first time the cities of Denver and New Orleans have faced off in a basketball playoff series. Back in 1968, the Denver Rockets took on the New Orleans Buccaneers in the Western Division semifinals of the ABA playoffs. And New Orleans, led by Doug Moe and Larry Brown, defeated Denver 3-2. New Orleans eventually made the ABA finals, but they lost in 7 games to the Pittsburgh Pipers, who were led by the Hawk, Connie Hawkins. Doug Moe leading the Buccaneers in scoring during the regular season. There's Doug. It's 24 games. Sitting next to former Nugget, former head coach Bill Hanslett. Larry Brown averaged 13 points, 6 assists. The Denver head coach Bob Bass. And the New Orleans head coach Babe McCarthy.
You're throwing out some names there, partner.
So these two clubs go back to the days of the old American Basketball Association. Now the Nuggets and the Hornets, with the Nuggets up by 3. This is game 1 of the best of 7. Game 2 here in Denver on Wednesday night and on TNT. There were double technicals called just before we went to that break on Kenyon Martin and Sean Marks, both getting involved. And now Marks picked up a foul. That's his 3rd. Right here, let's check in with Ernie Johnson back in Atlanta. Ernie.
And Marv, Southwest Airlines game break. We're just a few minutes away from the T-Mobile halftime report. Kenny Charles and C. Webb will bring you their insights on the first half. On Inside, all the highlights and post-game chatter from all 4 of Sunday's playoff games. And tomorrow night, our doubleheader, the Bulls and the Celtics, the Mavs and the Spurs. Now back to the Pepsi Center. Marv.
All right, thank you, Ernie. Chauncey Billups at the line with the Hornets over the foul limit. Chauncey with 17 points, 16 coming in that hot shooting first quarter.
Well, if I'm Byron Scott, I'm happy with the effort from my team, only being down by 5 points. This is a scary first game for the Nuggets. All the pressure is on them. Being the number 2 seed and haven't been able to get out of the first round in recent years, there's a lot of pressure on this team to win not only this game, but this series.
And the Nuggets have lost 5 straight playoff games here at home. The West had it knocked aside, the last touch by Denver, so they'll have 1 on the shot clock. Stojakovic will put it in play.
Quick alley-oop.
Or catch and shoot.
Catch and shoot.
There it is. I think Byron Scott felt it was kind of a quick,
that was a quick
buzzer.
one.
Yeah.
Very quick one.
So the ball back to Denver. Byron shaking his head, and
maybe it was the altitude that caused the clock to go quickly.
I would think it would slow down the process.
You would think.
5-point Denver lead. Talking a moment ago about a team losing its first game at home as Billups missing, but it's tipped home. Tipped in by Carmelo Anthony. Well, there are a couple of road teams that did pull out wins. Today, we saw Philadelphia knock off Orlando. How about Derrick Rose and the Bulls winning in Boston yesterday? And a defensive 3-second violation is called, so a technical foul awarded. And Stojakovic, one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, will head to the line.
And it was great to see Derrick Rose and Rondo go at one another. I mean, what a historical game for the rookie. Probably rookie of the year for Chicago.
Career high 36 points. He tied Kareem Abdul-Jabbar the most points by a rookie in his playoff debut. Also had 11 assists, 12 for 12 at the line. He has such amazing poise. And Rondo itself, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists.
How about Noah? 17 rebounds. Tyrese Thomas knocking down 3 huge shots in overtime.
Here's Stojakovic for 3 with the shot clock running down. Rebounded by Martin.
Nice job by Martin and Ney, just holding off the bigs of the Hornets.
Anthony came up short, fielded by Paul. Look out as Paul was running to.
Now see, Chris Paul's on the ground. Someone for the Hornets need to run over and pick him up. There goes Butler. This is your star player who just got knocked down. You've got to run over and pick him up. Rush shot here by Melo. That's a collision right there.
Carmelo Anthony called for his second foul. Minute and a half left in this first half. The Nuggets have a 52-45 lead. Here's Paul splitting through and scores. What a move. He got the step on Phillips, and there was no help. 15 points, 8 assists for Paul. Denver with the turnover. That's 9 turnovers committed by the Nuggets here in the first half.
They average 15 on the year, the bottom half of the league. They're already at 9.
West going right at Nene, got a piece of it. Anthony looking to post on Stojakovic, and he's fouled. Foul on Armstrong, and Anthony will head to the line.
George Karl was talking about how many ways that they're going to play the pick and roll with Chris Paul. And right there, that was just somewhat of a brush screen, and Chauncey Billups was with him the whole way, but just a nice move and creativity by Chris Paul.
Correction on the last foul. It's Stojakovic, not Armstrong. So Pager picks up his first.
Chris Paul, 15 points, 8 assists in this first half already. He's doing his parts. Now he needs David West and maybe even Pager to offensively come along here.
West just 3 of 9. Paul, the only Hornet in double figures. Seven-point Nuggets lead. Try to trap Paul. Beautiful pass. Armstrong. Rebounded by Glazer. Look out. Phillips had it knocked away. Then recovers. Phillips thought he was fouled.
Having a chuckle with official Monty McCutcheon.
There's a 4-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. They're on their feet here at the Pepsi Center. Anthony on the spin, and he's fouled. Hornets thought it was a late whistle. It's on Hilton Armstrong. That is his third personal.
That's Carmelo Anthony. Quick spin. Using the body against Hilton Armstrong out there. Very late call by the official.
Carmelo is 4 for 4 at the line, a 79% free throw shooter. It's 2 of 8 shooting in this first half for Anthony. Both teams picking it up in the second quarter after slow starts in the first. Denver now at 46% from the field. And New Orleans at 43. 8 seconds left in the half. Paul played by Dante Jones. Down to 3. Down to 2. Paul for 3. Halftime in Denver. And the Nuggets with a 55-47 lead on the Hornets. Chris Paul with the 15 along with 8 assists. Chauncey Billups, 16 of his 18 coming in the first quarter. Carmelo Anthony and Nene each with 9 points. Let's go to Mark Fine with Chauncey Billups.
All right, thanks, Marv. Chauncey, 9 points for Melo, 2 for Kenyon Martin. You're already over your season average for the game. Was that part of the game plan tonight or what?
Nah, it's not part of the game plan. You just come out and try to be aggressive, try to get the crowd on your side, and see what happens.
Got a little chippy in this one in the first half. When we previewed this series, not a lot of talk about it being physical. Were you a little surprised by that?
Playoff basketball, man. It's going to be chippy next half. Every half we play is going to be chippy. It's a lot at stake. That's just how playoff basketball is.
All right, good luck in the second half.
Yes,
Thanks. All right, there you go. We're going to take a quick timeout. T-Mobile halftime report coming up. EJ, Kenny, Charles, C. Webb. They've got it all. Keep it here on TNT.
Welcome back to the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado, game one of the best of seven Western Conference first round playoff series. And the Nuggets have a 55-47 lead over the Hornets as we head to the second half. Marv Albert along with Reggie Miller. And as we pour over the stat sheet, as we often do here during our halftime break, for the Nuggets, it has been domination in the paint.
Well, what did George Karl tell us? We're the bigger team. We need to dominate the boards. We've got size, and we got to utilize that size. And it starts with the Nate down here just backing down Tyson Chandler. Nice little up and under move. And then if you can't get down low, J.R. Smith, who has struggled with his three-point shot, just takes it off the dribble. And a misadvised shot there by Carmelo Anthony. And the Birdman, who played fantastic off the bench. And here's Melo in the pick-and-roll situation. And then the Nate finished. And on the flip side, if you're Chris Paul, he's done it all in the first half. And what I like Chris Paul has done is you set it up with your offense. The eyes of an assassin. He gets the and one against Nene. So now everyone's going to converge to him. So when he gets into the open court, you get a trailer like Hilton Armstrong. And right here, Anthony Carter just not quick enough. And the nice finish by Sean Marks.
And it's time for the game summary brought to you by Dos Equis as we check out the stats. New Orleans shoots 42%, 18 of 43. Denver 46%, 18 of 39. 16 free throws in all for the Nuggets. They hit 14 of 16 at the line, but the stat that George Karl is not thrilled with, as Stojakovic knocks down a three. That's his second three of the game. 9 turnovers committed by Denver. And New Orleans committing 6. The high point men, Chauncey Billups with 18 and Chris Paul with 15 points along with 8 assists. Another look as we digest the stats even further. 25-16 rebounding edge for Denver, and you see second chance points for the Nuggets.
Look at the free throws. The Denver shooting 16. They're number 1 in the NBA at 30 attempts a game. On the reverse side, you've got the Hornets, who are 29th.
Billups with another three. He's 5 of 5 from downtown. He has 21 points, so the Nuggets now lead at 58-50. New Orleans starting with the lineup that opened up the game. Stojakovic coming up short. He's up front with Weston, Chandler, Butler, and Paul at the guards. Here's Billups to the pull-up. Yes, that's a two-pointer. Chauncey Billups having one of those nights. 7 of 9 overall, 23 points. What a way to start the playoff run off. David West, only 3 of 9 from the field in the first half. Denver wasting no time getting to the front court. Billups played by Butler. Here's Billups. He got the step. Goes at Chandler. Rebounded by West. Ball played by Dante Jones. And they try to draw the foul. Here is West. Try to bank it. Rebounded by Nene.
You use the left hand on that. Would have been an easier shot as Dante Jones gets caught tripping Chris Paul away from the basketball. And Dante Jones picks up his first foul, excuse me. And both of these players are going at it. And it looks like it's going to be a technical foul on Dante Jones. Double technical on Chris Paul. It's a double technical on Chris Paul and Dante Jones. Both players, as Monty McCutcheon is telling Dante Jones, enough. Enough of the talking. Don't want anything to get out of hand here.
Dante has been playing his usual aggressive defense, matched up with Chris Paul. They continue to talk. West with the alley-oop for Chandler. Tyson Chandler from David West. It's a 6-point Denver lead.
Carmelo for Anthony from the weak side cannot hug his shooter. He's going to have to get into the paint.
And Phillips fouled by Butler. Let's check in with Mark Fine. Mark.
Well, Marv, I talked with Byron Scott as he came out for the second half. He talked about Chauncey Billups and the fact that they're giving him too much space. Not really going to change anything they're doing defensively, but they can't continue to give him that much space when he's got the ball in his hands. He also talked about physical play. He said they've got to be aggressive, they've got to play harder, but by the same token, he said, don't confuse that for fouling. Fouling doesn't mean playing harder. They're committing too many fouls, guys.
All right, Mark, Chauncey Billups looking to extend to an 8-point Nugget lead. And we hear the chants of MVP for Chauncey Billups, who is in the conversation when you're talking top 4 or 5 guys.
He's the MVP of the Nuggets. I don't know if you can talk about him for the league.
I said in the conversation when you're talking 4 or 5, as Paul is knocked down by Jones, and see Billups trying to calm down Dante Jones.
Well, Dante Jones and Chris Paul, since the start of this third quarter, have been going at one another. And again, a pick and roll right there, and maybe a little leg kick out by Chris Paul that kind of went unnoticed by the officials as the fans react to it as they see it on the monitor up top. And it was a quick pick and roll, and Dante Jones was just a little late getting there, and you see the uncontested shot by Chris Paul, and you can't see down low that right leg kind of extends out a little bit more.
Dante Jones in his 6th year out of Duke, originally a first-round pick of the Celtics and then traded to Memphis, spent 4 years with the Grizzlies, has worked his way into the starting lineup in Denver. Phillips again from downtown. He has 28 points. 6 of 6 from beyond that 3-point line. Chandler won't count. He missed the initial attempt and then had his hands over the rim as he put it down.
Well, I think the official, Monty McCutcheon, might have let it go if he would have not held onto the rim right here, because the ball was going to come back through. But when he held onto the rim, which gave the ball a chance to go through, that's when they disallowed it.
Martin lost it. West took it out of his hands. And here comes Paul. It was knocked away. Good play defensively.
That's a good play at both ends. David West taking the ball from Kmart, and Carmelo Anthony making a play on Chris Paul in the open court, which is tough to do. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a long and physical series between these two teams. If this is any gauge or any indication, the way they're talking with one another.
All right, here's Paul for 3. And most of the chatter has been between Chris Paul and Dante Jones. Foul on Butler. And we've had 4 technical fouls called.
But what did Chauncey tell us right as he was going off at halftime to Mark Fine? It's chippiness. You're going to find that in, you look at all the playoff series that started yesterday and today. There's always some guys going at one another.
Butler called for the foul his 3rd. I know you can't relate to chippiness.
No. I was a model citizen. That's the commissioner. He's here.
Anthony, rebounded by Nene. What a move. The Nuggets now lead at 67-56. 11 points for Nene. Here's Butler coming up short. Paul keeps it alive. And as Stojakovic battles for position, Monty McCutcheon with a call away from the ball. Looked like Nene and Chandler got involved. It's on Nene, his second.
Now, I'm going to give the officials, and especially Monty McCutcheon, he understands it's a playoff game, and he's letting Tyson Chandler and Nene play, but there's a lot of bumping going on between the two big fellas for each team.
Oh, Chandler just with a hard pick as Paul was able to hit. Anthony got picked off, took a shot, and went down. Shaken up for a moment, he's all right. Here's Phillips. And he is fouled by Butler. For Rasul Butler, it's number 4.
You see the screen here by Tyson Chandler as Carmelo Anthony is telling him, hey, I'm going to send him down low, and a little bit of the shoulder into the face of Carmelo as Chauncey Billups is just making Rasul Butler scratch his head.
In his 6 seasons with Detroit, Chauncey Billups led the Pistons to 6 straight conference finals and the 2004 NBA title. Chauncey Billups has tied a Denver NBA franchise record for most threes made in a playoff game. He is 6 of 6 from beyond that three-point line.
Now you bring in Devin Brown for Rasul Butler, known for his defense, but less offense than Rasul Butler, who has 4 fouls and is on the bench for the Hornets.
Billups with the 6 threes, tying Bashawn Leonard and Michael Adams for most three-pointers in a playoff game for the Nuggets. Here's Paul. He got it over Kenyon Martin. It's a 9-point Nugget lead. 5 minutes gone by in the third. Billups for 3.
That's a heat check. He's just checking, that's all. Going for the record. Think he knows?
No.
You're right.
How many guys would know what the franchise record is?
None.
You might have. I don't know. No?
Well, I had them all by about my 5th year.
Oh, please. Please.
I had them all by my 5th year, so no, I wouldn't have known.
Here's Dante Jones. Yes.
Bonus. That's a bonus. Anytime Dante Jones can give you offense, he's out there to play defense. It's a bonus for George Karl and his club.
5 points for Jones. What was George telling us? We want Dante Jones to Bruce Bowen, Chris Paul, using Bruce Bowen as a verb. And the call away from the ball, offensive foul on Stojakovic.
Hey, I'm telling you, between Dante Jones and Chris Paul, because right now Chris Paul just got whacked in the throat by Dante Jones. And Sean Corbin saw the second slap from Peja Stojakovic against Carmelo Anthony. See, that's what Sean Corbin saw right there, was the second slap, and that's why Peja got the foul. He didn't see the first slap by Melo against Peja. But usually what do officials normally see, Marv? The second one. Oh, this is going to be good. This series is going to be fantastic.
It is game 1 with game 2 here Wednesday night and on TNT. Games 3 and 4 back in New Orleans next Saturday and then Monday. Just under 6 left in the third. Here is Anthony on the fadeaway. Offensive foul. And for Carmelo, his 3rd personal.
Carmelo Anthony probably trying to do a little bit too much right here. Takes on Tyson Chandler, kicks out with the leg, offensive foul. And welcome back to the Pepsi Center, and it has definitely been the Chauncey Billups show, Mr. Big Shot. And he got it going early from long distance, and when you give him that much space, he's going to be able to create. And what I like about Chauncey is His foot doesn't have to be on the line. If he has to shoot a 25, 26-footer, he can. And just coming down in transition, just freezing the defense. 18 points coming from the three-point line, 18 of his 30 from long distance.
Nuggets have a 71-60 lead on the Hornets. Just under 6 minutes to play in this third quarter. Marv Albert with Reggie Miller and Mark Fine. West comes up short. He's been off, rebounded by Martin. David West just 4 of 13 from the field. Martin, Nene, and Anthony on the front line. Phillips and Jones at the guards. Anthony to the crossover and scores. What a move by Carmelo Anthony.
And I think what was Chauncey telling us in one of our interviews with Mark Fine, that Carmelo is like a point guard. He has skills and handles like a point guard.
Here's Stojakovic from downtown. He has shot the ball well. 13 points, his third from three-point land. Anthony right back.
Starting to find his offensive game. Struggled in that first half. Only 2 field goals. Looking to get it going in this third quarter.
See Chandler flashing in the lane. West had an ocean to go that way, but Nene recovered. Now West has it slapped away. He's fouled by Martin. All right, let's check in with Mark.
Well, Marv, we're watching Chauncey Billups have an unbelievable night, and Coach Carl was asked this morning at shoot-around what kind of player he is, and he immediately said he's a winner. He's one of the only guys I've ever coached who has a better winning percentage than I do. He said he always thought players should have winning percentages associated with them the same way coaches do. He then said there are times where we'll butt heads. He'd like Chauncey to push the ball a little more. Chauncey keeps telling him, Coach, I'm more of a 57 Chevy than a new Mercedes, so doesn't want to run as much.
Yes. And Chauncey Billups, a guy who bounced around at the start of his career. Boston, Toronto, Orlando, a couple of years with Minnesota. Emerged as a star with the Pistons, spending 6 years with Detroit. He's now a 4-time All-Star, MVP of the 2004 Finals, and just so happy to be back here in his hometown of Denver. A star in high school at George Washington High, in the Mile High City.
All over, Mark said. Also, he said Nate McMillan and Chauncey Billups, 2 of his probably smartest players he's coached as well. Nate McMillan, fabulous job for the Portland Trail Blazers.
There's Paul able to recapture the dribble. Finds the open West. Rebounded by Nene. Took a shot to the head. Devin Brown, who just came on, trying to slap the ball away. Called for the foul. And the Hornets are now over the foul limit.
They're going to take a 20-second timeout because it definitely looked like he got hit in the eye. Devin Brown just trying to go for the loose ball and inadvertently stuck his fingers into the eyes of Nene.
So Nene will make his way to the foul line. Let's take a look at the upcoming national television schedule. Tuesday on NBA TV, Game 2 between Houston and Portland starting at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Friday, Cleveland at Detroit on ESPN. Orlando at Philadelphia as the Magic and the 76ers get together for Game 3 on ESPN2. And then Portland at Houston, Game 3 on ESPN. Sunday on ABC, Boston at Chicago. That'll be Game 4, followed by Cleveland at Detroit. And a look at NBA Commissioner David Stern, who has been making the rounds in Portland last night. Denver here this evening, coming to a playoff city near you over the next month and a half.
It's good to have the commission in the house. Nene working on a double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds, a second in field goal percentage on the year in the league.
Right behind Dwight Howard. Phillips called for the hold, would not let go of Chris Paul. That's only the first foul on Chauncey Billups. And now Chris Anderson comes on. J.R. Smith is back. Nene takes a seat. And Chris Anderson gets this crowd going at 3 blocks in the first half.
I guarantee you, that Chris Anderson was watching the way Nene and Tyson Chandler was playing, and he's going to be just as physical to Tyson Chandler.
Here's West with the fall away, trying to get it up with the shot clock running out. And Phillips and Smith now at the guards with Martin, Anthony, and Anderson up front. Anderson goes down to the low post. Anthony with the shot, and rebounded by Posey. So James Posey has checked back in. Oh, look out. A collision between Chandler and Phillips. And the foul is called. Well, no indication as of yet. And now,
well, it looked like it might have been Carmelo Anthony, and that was a little payback for that little rub down that Tyson Chandler gave him in the pick and roll earlier that wasn't called.
So for Carmelo, it is number 4. Tyson Chandler only a 58% free throw shooter on the line for the first time. Tyson Chandler has been out with that injured left ankle. Played in the season finale at San Antonio this past Wednesday night, his first game back since mid-March. He had been sitting out 15 games, missed 37 in all over the season, and says he's still struggling with lateral movement. The numbers tonight: 6 points, only 4 rebounds, but he's trying to hang in.
What did he say? He has all summer to rest.
Nice pass, and Anderson misses the reverse. Here comes Paul. Paul all the way. He thought he was hit. Rebounded by Clayson.
He thought he was hit, but he's the one that initiated the contact against Chris Anderson. That's why there was a no call.
Oh, J.R. Smith with the hit on Paul. He looked to clear the path and ended up shoving Paul. It has been a very physical third quarter. We'll be back to the Pepsi Center in Denver in a moment. A look at George Karl at his 21st season as an NBA head coach, 10th winningest coach of all time. Much success in Seattle and Milwaukee. This is 5th straight season that George has led the Nuggets into the playoffs. The results of the past 4 have been on the disappointing side. 2005, the Nuggets lost in the first round of San Antonio, 4-1. 2006, beaten by the Clippers in 5 games. 2007, Spurs over the Nuggets again in 5. And then last season, the Lakers sweeping Denver in 4 games. Last year, Nuggets went 50-32, finished as the 8th and final seed in the West, and needed a late season rally to get to 50 and then the postseason. It's been a very busy third quarter for this officiating crew. Foul on J.R. Smith. Reggie, you look at the numbers in the third quarter. The two teams have combined for 13 made field goals and 15 personal fouls, plus a double technical.
It's playoff basketball, and both teams don't want to give up an inch, and no one wants to back down. And I think that's what you're seeing, the physicality of this. Both teams going at one another, not wanting to give up an inch.
Evan Brown knocks down both foul shots. Nuggets up by 7. Both teams are over the foul limit. 2.5 to play in the third. Phillips going at Brown. Martin able to dribble. Kenyon Martin with only a second field goal. Kenyon has been playing hurt. Most recently missed 4 games with a strained left rib. Played the final 2 games of the regular season. He felt it was a big help in getting ready for the playoffs. Now West posting on Martin. Good job by Martin. Shot clock to 5. Here's Brown, lost possession. Anderson with an adventurous dribble, but got it to Phillips, who fires for 3. That's number 7 from downtown for Chauncey Phillips. He has 33 points. He is 7 of 8 from beyond the 3-point line. What a night for Phillips. 16 in the first quarter. 33 in all. He has 15 of his points here in the third. Good defense. West had nowhere to go. Clays have picked it off. Smith on the pullback. Yes. And one shot like that could get J.R. Swish going. Timeout, New Orleans. 7-0 run for the Nuggets. They have their biggest lead. They're up by 14. This, a Nuggets franchise record as Billups hits his 7th three-pointer. All right, Denver has an 83-69 lead over New Orleans as we welcome you back to Denver. Chauncey Billups having a spectacular game. The type of game I think that you could relate to.
Well, I don't know if I've ever been in the zone like Chauncey has tonight. The presence of mind in the fast break, go for the record, knock down the three, and then after that, J.R. Smith is almost jumping on his back and knock down a big shot to push this lead to 14 points for the Nuggets. Chauncey Billups has really got out the gate in the first quarter, and that's what really got this team and got these fans into this game.
Chauncey did hit 7 three-pointers in a regular season game as a member of the Pistons against Orlando back in 2003, but this is a playoff record for the Nuggets. The all-time postseason record is 9 threes in a game. Billups took it away from Paul and shoots for 3.
Why not? Why not, Chauncey?
He is sizzling. That is number 8 from downtown.
Do it to him, Mr. Big Shot.
36 points for Billups. His career high, 40 in a playoff game for the Pistons. Anderson rebounds. Half minute left in the third. They're on their feet here in Denver, responding to this third quarter explosion by the Nuggets. And a blocking foul is called as Smith tried to make the turn and Chandler jumped in his path.
Chauncey Billups, when he gets it going like this, in transition, in the half-court situation, I mean, really, what are you going to do? They've had Chris Paul on him. Russell Butler picked up 4 fouls. They brought in Devin Brown to try and slow him down. No one, Marv.
And Reggie, the all-time playoff record, as I mentioned, most three-pointers in a game, 9. As you see, Billups pull up for number 8.
He's stumbling to get his feet together just so he can get the shot up.
Ray Allen did it. Vince Carter did it for Toronto. That was a 50-point game for Vince. And Rex Chapman also did it. Rex, as it turns out, the first player drafted and signed by the Hornets franchise, is now the vice president of player personnel for Denver. Final seconds of the third. And the Hornets turn it over with 1.2 to go in the quarter. Here's Smith, who fires one. 3 quarters complete. Nuggets 87 and the Hornets 69. Chauncey Billups 18 of his 36 in the third quarter. Overall, 8 of 9 from downtown.
Welcome back to Denver, Mark Fine. Coach, unbelievable, Chauncey Billups. He said he was a 57 Chevy, right? He looks like he's running a little smoother than that.
Well, it's a great horse to have right now. He's got a great rhythm on the 3 ball. He's also leading us really well. But I'll be honest with you, I think our defense picked up pretty good in the second half. Hopefully we can control the fourth quarter just like we did the third.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense. Chris Paul seems to be getting his, but overall you guys have been real tough.
I think Kenyon's performance on West has been great. We rebounded the ball well, too.
All right, great stuff. Thanks, Coach. Good luck the rest of the way. Marv, back to you.
The Hornets with just 22 points in the third quarter. That's what George Karl was referring to. The save by Smith ended up being deflected into the back court. And now the officials will discuss it. Was it deflected? And Mark Davis comes over to Sean Corbin and says, no, it's a backcourt violation. It was not touched. by the Hornets.
Well, once J.R. Smith got control of it, he was trying to get the ball to Chauncey Billups, so that was a controlled throw to Chauncey Billups. That's why it was over and back.
Denver outscored New Orleans 32-22 in the third, ending with an 11-2 run. Offensive foul once again. The screener came out, and Tyson Chandler picks up number 4.
Chandler just being a little bit too aggressive here, trying to dribble handoff with Chris Paul. Kind of leans with that left hand, left shoulder.
In that 11-2 burst at the end of the third, the Hornets committed 4 turnovers. It's an 87-69 Nuggets lead. Here is Smith on a pull-up. And JR showing the entire repertoire here tonight. Reggie not able to get the long-range shot going early, so attacked the rim, and we're seeing other phases of his game.
Mid-range points count as well. You don't always have to settle for the three-point. Try to take the ball to dribble if your shot isn't going and try to create something little.
11 points for J.R. Smith. Shot clock is down at 3. Paul on a pullback. And Martin got a piece of it. Clays on the back tap, and it's out by Phillips. Smith, yes. Oh, he's feeling it now.
You know, and it becomes infectious. After Chauncey Billups got it going through the first 3 quarters, finally J.R. Smith starting to find that jump shot.
And Denver now shooting 52% for the game. 2 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Stojakovic from deep. Stojakovic with the save. And a tough pass to handle. So the ball back to Denver. Now here's Nene. Took that poke in the eye late in the third quarter. Went back to the locker room as we're told he's all right. He's back on the floor. Nene is now up front with Kleza and Anderson, Billups, and Smith at the guards. Smith, yes. And you can see, not that he ever loses confidence, but the confidence is back from the perimeter. Here's Posey with a runner. And it's handled by Nene. Smith from way downtown. Rebounded by Nene. Finding Anderson, and he's hit. Well, Chris Anderson will go to the line. It has been all Denver in this second half. Foul on Stojakovic. That is his 4th. Well, the NBA is on Twitter. Get real-time stats, scores, and insider access from the NBA playoffs at twitter.com/NBA.
You tweet, don't you?
All the time. I
okay.
tweet, yes.
Making sure. Hey, this has definitely been a statement game 1 for the Nuggets. The number 2 seed in the West, 54 wins. Haven't been out of the playoffs out of the first round of the playoffs the last 5 years. And you wanted to come out and have a statement game against the Hornets. And so far, mission accomplished for George Karl and his ball club.
And they have been on almost every loose ball. They have come out with great energy. Here's Smith, and he's fouled. So J.R. Smith will go to the line. Now, the last time the Nuggets hosted an opening game in a playoff series, the 1988 conference semifinals against Dallas. Foul is on Chandler, that's number 5. Nuggets won that game, but lost the series in 6. So they have home court this season for the first time in 21 years by virtue of finishing 54-28 as the number 2 seed in the West behind the Lakers.
And it's very favorable, obviously, to be in the opposite bracket of the LA Lakers, who I feel, if they are fortunate to get by Utah, are going to have a tough semifinal matchup between the winner of Portland and Houston.
And while Denver finished the season very strong, winning 14 of the last 17. The Hornets did not finish in that style. They dropped 6 of the last 8. Posey off on that three-point attempt, rebounded by Anderson. Here's Smith putting moves on Butler. And a foul. It's on Butler. A timeout call. We're early in the fourth. It's been all Nuggets. Another run, an 8-0 spurt here by Denver, opening the fourth quarter.
Well, Chauncey Billups got it done early, and J.R. Smith is trying to close the show here in the fourth quarter. A nice little off the dribble as the reaction from Melo and the rest of the Nuggets. They're excited.
I think we have one of the better benches in the NBA, if not the best. And we feed off of that. You know, our starting unit, we come out and we try to take care of business and set the tone, but we really lean on our second unit a lot.
Well, 25 bench points for the Nuggets, and everyone has contributed, especially at the defensive end. You got the Birdman with the block, plays it, the offensive rebound put back. But then you got Anthony Carter running the lane, finding J.R. Smith. And when Carmelo Anthony forces a shot, who's underneath to clean it up? Chris Anderson, and then the fourth quarter closer, J.R. Smith, not settling for that long-range shot, takes the ball off the dribble and works on his mid-range game.
And he scored the last 8 points for Denver, make it the last 10, and 21 straight points for the Nuggets. A 21-0 run by Denver. This was a 76-69 game, just late third quarter as Posey stops that 21-0 run. With about 2.5 left in the third, it was a 7-point Nugget lead. It is now 97-71. Klaiser for 3, yes. Denver is 10 of 17 from 3. Here's Antonio Daniels. And the officials checking with each other. Warner's looking for a foul, but it was knocked out of bounds last touched.
You know this is a statement game. As you hear the crowd, just Chauncey Billups, standing ovation. 8 threes tonight, 8 of 9, 36 points.
Mo Peterson had just checked in, unleashing that shot.
But Marv, it's only one game. It's a best-of-7 series. As Mo Pete comes up with the steal right there.
Daniels with the lead pass. Wright, who just came on, not able to hit. Julian Wright, second-year man from Kansas. Here's Hilton Armstrong with the stuff. So Byron Scott has emptied his bench early.
Very early for a playoff game. But you got to understand, like I said, it's one game. Very much the same way Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat are thinking. You know, yes, we got blown out tonight at Phillips Arena, but it's only one game.
And A comes up short. Hasn't it been your experience where in the playoffs, one game does not necessarily lead to the next game?
I would much rather lose like this as opposed to being in the game for 3.5 quarters, 4 quarters, and lose the game at a buzzer shot or something like that when you had chances to win. This way, you can go back to the film. You understand all the mistakes that went wrong, and you got to get to Chauncey early and make sure J.R. Smith doesn't get going late and second shot opportunities. So you can learn a lot from a bad loss like this as opposed to getting your heart ripped out in a close game.
But basketball fans around the country, as the foul was picked up by Hilton Armstrong. Here's Klaiser on a catch and shoot from downtown. But around the country, people will say as Smith fires deep from 3-point range at a foul. It's called stay right here, says Monty McCutcheon. The foul is on Hilton Armstrong. But fans will say, boy, this Denver team looks unbelievable. They will make the assessment on one game, and they have had a wonderful season. And obviously, they've blown out the Hornets here tonight with a dazzling point performance. Sparked by Chauncey Billups, who hit 8 of 9 from beyond that 3-point line. Hornets already over the foul limit, and we still have 6.5 minutes left in this fourth quarter.
And actually, having a blowout win like this is a plus for the Nuggets because you've got Chauncey Billups, who 30-plus, who can rest that body. He has played a lot of playoff minutes before, and this team doesn't play again until Game 2 is on Wednesday.
There's Julian Wright. Gets it inside, and Bill Armstrong upset. He thought he was fouled. Anderson with the block. Glazer took a hard hit. And the physical play continues.
It's a physical play, but that's a good playoff foul right there.
Foul on Wright, putting Glazer at the line.
And this is what is driving Byron Scott crazy. Consistency from bench players. And I like the foul by Julian Wright on Lennox Glazer. Guys going in there, you're getting drubbed by 25-plus points. Put him on his back, send him to the free throw line. It's playoff basketball.
Lennox Glazer in his 4th NBA season. Played for Lithuania at the Olympics this past summer. Played his college ball at Missouri. And he's given the Nuggets a 103-73 lead. Antonio Daniels now playing the point. He and Peterson at the guards. Posey is up front with Armstrong and Wright, and a foul is called. Foul on Glazer as we head to break with just under 6 left in the fourth.
Welcome back to Denver. The Nuggets leading at 103-73. This season, Chauncey Billups and his teammates made wishes come true for 16-year-old Tony Taylor, a Make-A-Wish youngster who was recently diagnosed with renal failure. George Karl invited Taylor to practice, where he had the chance to meet all the Nuggets players, shoot some hoops, and receive a special gift from Anthony Carter. The NBA, where caring happens. Let's get it back to Marv Albert and Reg.
All right, thank you, Mark. So Mo Peterson at the line as we resume with 5:54 left in the fourth quarter. This game 1 of the best-of-7 Western Conference first-round playoff series. Game 2 here in Denver Wednesday night, and will be seen on TNT. Games 3 and 4 back in the Big Easy next Saturday and Monday. And it was a 21-0 run that just took it away. Late third quarter through early fourth, because this was a 7-point game. Denver on top by 76-69 with about 2.5 left in the third quarter. And then there was the explosion. Shot clock is down to 3. There's Glazer for Anderson, and he puts it down.
23 seconds of that 24-second clock. Great defense by the Hornets. And then you break down and let Glazer get into the teeth of your defense. The Birdman finishes.
And the Birdman has been filling up the stat sheet along with 5 blocked shots, 11 points, 6 rebounds. Oh, the lead for Dante Jones, who wanted to put it through the rim with the tomahawk.
Well, I'll tell you what. Playing hard is one thing, but if you're the Hornets, you can't get embarrassed now. Right now, they're borderline getting embarrassed by the Nuggets.
When do you call it official embarrassment?
If he would have made that dunk right there, you got to get back in defense. You can't give up layups and let this crowd go crazy, and these guys are out here smiling. This is a best-of-7 series. Right now, this is an old-fashioned, take-you-behind-the-woodshed beating that the Nuggets are giving the Hornets.
It'll be Hornets ball. Chris Anderson hears it from the crowd as he sits down as Johan Petro comes on for the first time. Quiet from Oklahoma City in the deal for Chucky Atkins back in early January. Petro's been in the starting lineup, what with the injuries suffered by Denver, making his first appearance here tonight with 4 minutes to play. Kleza for 3. Petro with the assist off that cross-court pass. Phenomenal shooting by the Nuggets, particularly in the second half. They're overall 52%. That's their 11th three-pointer, and that is a new Denver franchise playoff record for most three-pointers in the postseason. Chauncey Billups with 8 of those 11. Kleza with the block. And Armstrong with the stuff. Peterson was just trying to save it and just didn't beat the shot clock.
I think everyone was waiting around because they thought maybe it was a foul when Morris Peterson was diving out of bounds to try to save that ball.
I started to say Chauncey Billups with 8 threes, and that is a Denver franchise playoff record. There's Smith with a wild three-point attempt. Rebound, Kleza takes to the rim. It counts, and the foul.
Don't you wish if you're a Nugget fan that you could put some of these points in the bank for the series? But like I said, it's only one game as Kleza, especially in this second half, aggressive on the offensive glass. And Carmelo Anthony, who hasn't had a great shooting night, 4 of 12, only 13 points with the reaction. And he hasn't even had a great game.
Has not mattered because of the play of Billups. Defensive work of Dante Jones. Solid game for Nene. 12 points.
The Birdman off the bench.
14 rebounds for Nene. J.R. Smith now with 19 points. Ronaldo Borkman has come on along with Jason Hart as George Karl empties his bench. And a foul is called as a timeout has been taken with just under 3 left in this fourth quarter. Petro called for the foul. We'll be right back. All right, Reggie, let's take a look at the Popeyes upcoming schedule. And Monday on TNT, starting at 7, first of the doubleheader, the Bulls and the Celtics in Game 2. Boston looks to bounce back after the overtime loss yesterday. Second game starting about 9:30. Mavericks and the Spurs in San Antonio looking to even that series after Dallas won in the Alamo City yesterday.
Mark Rivers are going to have to find ways to get Ray Allen going a little bit early. 1 of 12 from the field.
Oh, here's White with an emphatic dunk. With time running out on the Hornets. Denver's biggest playoff margin of victory. They won by 30 against San Antonio, 141-111. That was back in 1985. Broken up by Armstrong. Marks able to get to it. Here comes Daniels. Peterson shoots for 3. Mo Peterson from downtown. So the Denver Nuggets on their way to victory in Game 1 of this best of 7. Dante Jones. And Dante, the only starter who remains on the floor. There's Peterson again. 3-point attempt, rebounded by Hart, Jason Hart. Met by Antonio Daniels. And Petro with Kleza, Balkman, Jones, and Hart on the floor for Denver. Hart recovers that pass. Here's Kleza. He's had the hot hand. Rebounded by Marks. It's a New Orleans team that went 49-33 in the regular season. Finished as the number 7 seed after losing 6 of their last 8. An injury hit year for the Hornets. That's a defensive 3-second violation. And Daniels will shoot the technical. A programming reminder, don't miss the all-new season premiere of Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns, May 27th, 10 o'clock, 9 Central, only on TBS.
Very funny.
So recapping the high point men for Denver. Chris Paul, you can understand that look, but Billups led the way with 36. J.R. Smith 19, including all 10 points in that 10-0 run opening up this fourth quarter. Jason Hart called for the foul. You see the stat line on Chauncey Billups.
Could you slip and fall with it, but what if one of these players get hit in the head?
Peterson's trying to steal the ball. What's going on here? And that'll do it. The Nuggets here on TNT. Coming up, it is Inside the NBA. You've been watching the NBA playoffs on TNT. Home of 40 games in 40 nights. Now we'll send it to Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Chris in Atlanta.